What's poppin' YouTube? It's Arrow, and I'm coming to you guys with a crossbow build video. A lot of people were saying in the comments of my last video, the other crossbow video, that they wanted to actually try it out, so I thought I could help you guys out that want to try this build out by, actually showing you what cards I run and what kind of crossbow I actually use. I mean, I usually don't do build videos, so like this is probably like a one take kind of thing, so if I stutter or do anything, like, it's a one take, so I'm not used to doing this shit. But if you guys like this, let me know in the comments, and I could do some more build videos for you guys if I find anything else that's kind of good or broken, and I can even show you my own build that I use when I'm not running crossbows. So yeah. Alright, so to start off, we have Strength 1. In Strength, I've got Bandolier. Ballistic ammo weighs 45% less. So basically, I have this at 1 star, because crossbow bolts are surprisingly actually heavy in this game. So holding like 400 of them, or a shit ton that you need to actually do damage with a crossbow, because a lot of people don't understand that since the damage cap is 110, it's more how many 110s can you put out in the shortest amount of time versus you're hitting 110s. So like, you want to use as much ammo out of your shit as possible, because you want to just burn them down, because they're going to be spamming quantums, doing aid, stuff to like negate that. So basically using Bandolier helps you hold more weapon ammo and helps you shoot more ammos out at a like a faster rate than you would if you were using, like, if you were holding less, you'd run out of crossbow bolts faster, and then you'd have to do the whole ammo glitch thing again. It's stupid. But on to Perception, we got 15 in Perception. I always run 15 in Perception in any build that I do, other than like something that's shotguns or something other kind of weapon type. So if it's rifle, bow, or auto rifle, it's always Perception 15 for me, just because I like having those 3 damage. I like having the 3 damage doing perks, and then I like having something like Tank Killer or Concentrated Fire, usually, or like Ground Pounder for auto rifles. So basically, I always run Perception 15 if I'm doing anything in this category. Starting off, we have Concentrated Fire. VATS targets limbs, focus fire to gain high accuracy and damage per shot. This is essential for your crossbow build, because it lets you target limbs, and it also lets you target the head, which, if you didn't know, the head doesn't have an armor piece, so Sentinel doesn't apply. The only thing that Sentinel actually protects against is the explosive ammunition for the crossbow. But even then, that's just a blast radius. It doesn't mean anything. Concentrated Fire will basically just target the head, which kind of ignores. It's basically a critical in a way. It ignores armor. Usually, ER and DR is the only thing that applies, and since everyone's usually running leather, or not that great of power armor, usually some people that are running T65 are the ones that I have a trouble like killing, like my friend Scoopsy. I was hitting him for like 25s. It was fucking whack. But most power armor builds, you're gonna hit 110s if you hit him dead in the head. The helmet is actually the weakest part of the power armor, believe it or not. So you're gonna hit the power armor has that piece has the least amount of ER and DR to protect itself against. But on people that aren't in power armor, it's extremely good, because it's just as good as a crit shot. The only thing is it doesn't ignore ER and DR. The only thing that, well, yeah, no, it ignores ER and DR, now that I think about it. Because you're just going to hit 110s. It doesn't matter what their damage resistance is at. If you're doing high enough damage with anything to a headshot, it's going to kill them. So it's gonna deal your max damage. Unless they're quantum spamming, of course, when they could just, cheese you out. But even then, this cuts through quantum spammers. Anyways, onto the rest of the perks. Archer, 20% damage buff for your bows and crossbows. This applies to Expert Archer and Master Archer, so I really don't have to go through those two either. So it's 20, 20, 20. So it stacks on top of one another, so you're going to get that max hit out of the damage. You're going to get that max damage output. You're doing 60% more damage with the crossbow. It's pretty nice. Then lastly, in Perception, bow before me, this is really essential. Your bows and crossbows ignore 36% armor and have a 9% chance to stagger. This, with concentrated fire to a headshot, will stagger and ignore basically almost all of your armor. If you hit headshot, or not your armor, but other players' armors, it'll basically just kind of like shred through your shit like it's not even there. Since Sentinel doesn't apply, you can't use the Sentinel shit if someone's standing directly still. And it cuts through quantum spammers like paper. It's really good. In Endurance I have 9. Personally, you can run Endurance at anything you want. I really don't care. If you're a bloody build like I am, you can run it as low as you want. It really doesn't matter. This build isn't about tanking shit. It's just about fucking dealing as much damage and just killing them before they can kill you. First off, we have Ironclad 1. This is more really a throwaway perk. I don't usually use it that much. It's usually good. I usually put Good Doggy on if I have any dog food, so I can get that like beneficial shit. Ironclad 1 gain 10 damage and basically you gain 10 ER and DR while not wearing power armor. It ain't that good, but it gives you the extra little buff so you can take a little bit more damage output. If you guys didn't know, that 110 damage cap does not apply to ER and DR effect. So basically how that works is if someone's doing 1k DR, if you don't have a high DR, it's going to hit you for 110. If you have anything over that or near 1k or something like that, if you have a high DR rate, it'll do less damage to you. So basically, if I hit someone with a Tesla and they have like fucking 800 ER, I'm gonna hit them for like fucking, depending on what my damage output is. If my damage output's only like 230, I'm gonna do like 25 damage to people. So it really isn't like it really is important for you to have a high damage output with the crossbow, because you will hit 110s on their fucking armor and shit. It's nuts. And since everybody's running PSA leather or combat armor, it's actually really easy to fucking just shred them down with the 110, because you're doing at least 360, 400 damage with this thing. And with VATS crits and VATS shot, which gives you even more damage, you're gonna hit 110. So Ironclad is definitely a good perk to have maxed out if you're a high health build. But it really isn't that important to a bloody build. I just use it for that little extra kick in defense. Next on, we have 3 into Adamantium Skeleton. Your limb damage is completely eliminated. Just to clarify, a lot of people are confused about this, that are new to the PvP scene or aren't as experienced as people that do PvP all the time. While your limb damage is completely eliminated, you are not invulnerable to stagger. You will always, if someone is hitting you with explosives or something that hits hard enough, you will stagger. You won't cripple a limb like you would if you didn't have this on and stagger. You just stagger, which actually is really good. Staggering is really good against quantum spammers. The more you can stagger them, the more it kicks them out of their Pip-Boy so they can't spam them as much. So it's really good to stagger them as much as possible in any PvP situation. 3 into Fireproof. Take 45% less damage from explosions and flame attacks. While this is really an optional perk, if you're going up against Gat Plas builds with explosive weaponry or laser rifle builds with explosive, like Legacy Gat Plazas or lasers, you're gonna want as much protection from those that explosive and flame damage as possible, because the gamma does actually hurt you, even though it doesn't do as much damage. It still actually makes you take more. It's weird, I know. That's for the gamma wave capacitor for both the laser and the plasma. I think the gamma wave is on the plasma, if I'm not correct. I can't remember. Lastly, in Endurance, I have Revenant. You gain a 50% damage bonus for 2 minutes when a player revives you. This is actually a really good perk if you go down and Mysterious Savior actually picks you up. how this works is life-saving and mysterious savior actually counts as another player. So when another player revives you, you gain a 50% damage buff, which is a big fucking buff. Put that with like Psycho or something like that, and then have Nerd Rage on top of that. You're doing at least over, like, you know, 90 damage output alone. 90% damage output already. So adding that with bow, or the bow perks, which is 60%, that's fucking crazy. That's that's an 150% damage buff. You know, it's fucking crazy. And that'll get you up to anything. So even when I have that all procced out with all that, and I'm taking on like people in T65 or like Ultra Sight, I even do 110s with a crossbow. It's nuts. Going on next to Charisma, I have Field Surgeon, Stimpaks, and Radaway will now work much more quickly. Extremely good fucking perk. It's essential if you're using stims. If you use stim packs like super stims or just regular stim packs, they heal you much more quickly. And so if you put that with first aid at maxed out or level 2, since that restores 30% more lost health, that's 30% more lost health getting regained faster with the stim packs. So it's a really good perk to have in tandem with first aid, or just a really good perk in general to just have if you're running not first aid, for example. Strange in Numbers is really good if you're on a team. Adrenal Reaction keeps buffing every time another person is mutated. So if if you have 3 other teammates that are mutated, basically Strange in Numbers essentially buffs that adrenal reaction, so you're doing a lot more damage on a team than you would alone. So it's a really good perk to have if you're on a full team, even if they aren't fighting and they're all, but guaranteed 95% of this player base are running mutations, because mutations are very essential in PvP. So any teammates you have that you're fighting another team with or another player alongside, adrenal reaction will kick in. That gives you even more damage output. I'm not bullshitting you guys. I actually got the crossbow to get at least 650, 700 damage at one point. It was nuts. I have level 2 in Suppressor. It's really optional. You can put Tenderizer in if you want them to take a little bit more damage, but I like putting Suppressor in so they don't do as much damage. It reduces their damage output by 20%. So basically anything they're running like Commando or anything, it actually negates one of the damage perks for this weapon. So like even heavy guns where you do 20% more damage with that, it negates that. So like if someone's running a Tesla rifle, you took a whole perk card off of their fucking build for 2 seconds after you attack them. And while 2 seconds doesn't seem like much, if someone's firing on you while you're hitting them, you'll tank them a lot easier with Suppressor because their damage output isn't as high, so they're doing less damage at you. Intelligence, first aid, I already went over that. Lastly, in Intelligence at 5. Nerd Rage. Nerd Rage is essential for bloody builds. It's very optional. If you're running a full health build, it's really not needed. If you're running like a Junkie's crossbow, it's not a needed perk. You don't need it. But while below 20% health, gain 40% damage resistance, 20% damage buff, and 15% AP regen. So that's like basically Action Boy, like a level 1 Action Boy perk card. That's what it gives you basically, and that with powered makes your AP regen super fast. It's really good for bloody builds. I recommend it myself. I've always used it. It's an extremely good fucking perk because you're always below 20% health as a bloody build, unless you're running a half health build, which is half health bloodied. Into Agility, Evasive. Each agility point adds 3 damage and energy resist, max 45. So basically you get 45 to damage and energy resist if you have 15 agility. But since it's, 3 times 10, it's 30 damage and energy resist for me. I get a 30 damage and energy resist buff just because of Evasive alone. It's an actually really good perk to have. especially as a full health build in tandem with Ironclad, because that alone is a 800, or not, fuck, 80, 80 energy and damage resist buff just alone, just with the perk cards. So even if you're not wearing any armor or anything, you're running fucking, you have a 80 damage in ER and DR, which is really good. Sneak's optional. Sneak's not really needed in the PvP scene. I just use it so people can't detect my fucking, my dot. So people can't see my red square. I don't want people seeing my red square. My whole build here is to sneak up on you with a crossbow while you're not looking and bats the shit out of you and you're dead before you can even quantum spam me. Even then, if I run up on somebody, it pretty much cuts through them. So, it's really optional. It's really depending on, like, how you adapt to a different playstyle in a fight, because believe it or not, even in this PvP scene where basically everyone runs the same shit and does the same fucking tactic, fights change. Like, literally, like, your whole fighting style will, like, stop at the, or like stop and change at the blink of an eye. Someone could use the bitch tent and go 30,000 feet in the air and then rain down with a laser or gat plas, and you need to be able to counter that by maybe going up in a tent yourself, or if you're at White Spring going up on the mountain, you need to sneak so they can't see you on the ground and they can't find you. It's a really good perk to have if you're just trying to, like, sneak around up on people, especially on a team. If you're doing team fighting, it's really good to have. If you're, like, if they're occupied on somebody else, you just sneak up behind them, they don't even know you're there, and you just bash the shit out of them while they're fighting your teammate. Excuse me. Escape Artist is good if you're running Chameleon. Basically just makes the Chameleon perk hit faster. It's good. Sneak to lose enemies, and running no longer affects stealth. So basically, it basically just it's another sneak card, but it makes Chameleon better, and it makes Sneak better as well. It's just a sneak card. Dodgy is really good. Of course, it's a necessity. It's always been a necessity. Avoids 30% of incoming damage at the cost of 30 action points per hit. It's extremely good. I think they nerfed it at some point. I don't remember. I don't think it might have been always the same. I've always ran Dodgy. I've really never paid attention to it because since it's such a necessity, it's always been on my build no matter what. Luck 11. You're kind of confused as a bloody build as to why I'm not running Serendipity. Well, I'll tell you. Lucky Break and Mysterious Savior are what I use to max out the luck, because if I don't have a card or I'm missing 3 points in luck, it just drives me fucking insane. I use Mysterious Savior and Lucky Break to repair my armor, so basically it'll repair itself when it's struck, so if someone's hitting me, my armor will repair. That just means I don't have to, like, waste more resources on, like, repairing my shit, because Ballistic Fiber is kind of expensive if you don't have a shit ton of it. It's just, most of the time, I would say, use Mysterious Savior, let someone down you, let Mysterious Savior revive you, like, revive yourself with Mysterious Savior or Lifesaver, and then switch to, Serendipity once you get to a safe spot, because it's for 2 minutes, so you still get Revenant for 2 minutes, even though Mysterious Savior's not there and stuff. It's a good thing to just kind of, basically after you're done, you just take Lucky Break and that off, and then you quickly go over here to Serendipity and you put that on. Next is Class Freak and Starch Genes. That's actually kind of a necessity unless you're running serums. Starch Genes is a new, like a necessity in general. You're just going to want that at all times once you get mutations, so that you don't actually pop a rat away or somebody, or you don't run into a rad shower and lose a mutation, because it is randomly generated, so you could actually lose, like, Marsupial per se, and then go to get another mutation and not get the one you want unless you buy the Marsupial or get the Marsupial serum from someone else. Class Freak, the negative effects of your mutations are reduced by 75%. It's an optional perk if you're using serums or not. It's good for when once you run out of serums. Basically, it's really good for basically nerfing all the negative effects of your mutations. I really wish it was 100%. You just didn't have any at all, but Bethesda's gonna be Bethesda. And then lastly, in luck, we have, or well, actually not lastly, I have to explain serendipity, but everyone kind of knows it, but I'll explain it anyways. 4-leaf clover. Each hit in VATS has an excellent chance to fill your critical meter. Basically, when you hit someone in VATS, with the crossbow, with rapid fire, it's just going to keep giving you VATS crits, and you're just going to spam VATS crits because it's going to shred through their shit like it's paper. It's essential for running crossbows. Really good perk. Definitely recommend it. Lastly, in the build, we have Serendipity for bloody builds. While below 30% health, gain a 45% chance to avoid damage. You can't have this in power armor, because I really don't know why. Oh wait, no, I remember why. Because emergency protocols is the thing. Basically, you gain a 45% chance to avoid damage while below 30% health. I believe they nerfed Serendipity way back because while below 30% health, you used to gain like it used to work a lot more. So I think it was like a 75 to like 100% chance to avoid damage. I don't think it was ever 100 or nobody would die, obviously. But Serendipity was really good for while below. I think it was like 75, and they nerfed it to 45, if I'm not correct. Serendipity is really good for bloody builds such as myself. It's even good for junkies builds that are just getting shredded down because you avoid damage. It gives you time to spam quantums if you're a bitch, or spam stims to like get your health back up. But yeah, it's a good perk in general. It's a really good perk. My head hurts from talking so much. Oh my god, you guys had to hear me ramble for like what, 15 minutes? Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want to see more build videos like this, just let me know in the comments. I hope this helps you guys a lot with your crossbow builds and stuff like that, and help me make this shit meta, guys. Let's do it. See ya.